Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. The Red-Haired Pirates, otherwise known as Red-Haired Shanks' crew, is currently one of the strongest crews in One Piece, possessing extremely skilled pirates, and with the release of One Piece film Red, some information is being leaked about the reasons that make these crew members so powerful. So in today's video, we're going to talk about all the pirates of the Red-Haired Pirates, what skills they've been shown to possess so far, what their function or role is within the ship, and how powerful they could each be individually. But before we check out the roster of the Red-Haired Pirates, if you're new to the channel or even if you've been around for a bunch of episodes, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like or even subscribe and leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing your favorite video with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into this roster. So my friends, to start the list of the Red-Haired Pirates, there's nothing fairer to do than to start with, of course, our Captain Shanks, also known worldwide as Red-Haired Shanks, being one of the 4 Yonko and the last Yonko of the old generation that's still alive and holding his rank. Shanks has been a pirate pretty much since his childhood, and based on the movie of One Piece film Red, Roger found Shanks when he was a year old in God Valley during Roger and Garp's confrontation against the Xebec pirates. Once he was old enough to really be a pirate, Shanks began his pirate career on Roger's ship as an apprentice alongside Buggy, and later he formed his own crew after his captain lost his life. Besides being a great pirate, Shanks was also the one responsible for inspiring Monkey D. Luffy to become a pirate, besides being responsible for bringing the fruit of the Sun God close to Luffy, where through some other act, whether it was the fruit's decision, Luffy's decision, or Shanks' decision, or some combo of all three, Luffy ended up eating the fruit. Besides giving Luffy his straw hat, his most prized possession, so that he would continue to fulfill his dream of becoming the greatest pirate in the world without ever giving up, Shanks also pinned his hopes on the little boy and made a huge promise with Luffy that Luffy still keeps to this day. Since the very beginning of One Piece, Shanks has been an extremely important background character, usually being shown while Luffy has significant moments of growth as a pirate. But aside from the incredible appearances in both Marineford and Wano, we really don't see a lot more about Shanks. But even with the very little we have learned, we do know quite a bit about our red-haired captain. And first of all, Shanks is shown to possess immense physical strength, as he was once the rival of Mihawk, who of course is now the greatest swordsman in the world. And it was only when Shanks lost his arm that Mihawk and him gave up their rivalry. But even if Mihawk didn't really want to get beat up by a man with just one arm, we've seen several examples of Shanks' amazing sword skill, managing with just one arm to easily match Whitebeard, who of course was a gigantic man and considered the strongest man in the world at the time. This is a person who could easily defeat giants or an entire army of powerful and skilled naval officers. Another instance that shows Shanks' amazing sword skill as well was when he was able to block a Kaimu's Magnafist using only his sword and armament haki. In addition to his physical skills, Shanks is also rumored to be the greatest user of haki on the planet, as his haki is capable of making millions of people fall before him with great ease. In fact, there are only a very few select people that can actually stand before Shanks, and the fact that he's even feared by admirals should tell you a lot. And not only that, he's also demonstrated a vast mastery in the use of Conqueror's haki, and is even able to use this technique at a great distance, where he was able to direct his Conqueror's haki and his thoughts at Admiral Ryokugyu, who was in Wano, while Shanks was considerably distant out in the seas outside of Wano. If we wanted to try and put a number on it, we could also try and speculate that Shanks' Conqueror's haki is more than twice as powerful as Luffy's, because at the time of the Fishman Island arc, when Luffy used his Conquerors and knocked out 50,000 of the new Fishman pirates, Shanks could have easily knocked out all 100, maybe even easier. So it may not be the best metric, but it at least gives us an idea of how much more powerful, and if Shanks has scaled with time just like Luffy has, yikes. In One Piece film Red, we are enlightened to the fact that Shanks is known as the Haki Killer, and is even known for a technique called Kenbun Goroshi, or the Observation Killer technique, being able to nullify an opponent's observation haki, preventing them to be able to predict any of his movements. And this technique could be absolutely unique to Shanks, because not even Katakuri, who of course was the person who introduced us to Future Sight, an advanced application of observation haki, even he didn't have this technique, nor did Big Mom, Kaido, or did Whitebeard ever demonstrate possessing this ability, making again this maybe one of Shanks' unique features. But now that we've talked about the captain, let's move on to the rest of the crew, and let's start with Ben Beckman, the first mate of the red-haired pirates, and he is the second highest authority of the crew behind Shanks himself. And he also has a great deal of experience, and he is the oldest of the main crew members. And he is most especially known for his incredibly advanced intellect, possessing an extremely high IQ. In battle, Beckman is an extremely powerful fighter, with excellent effectiveness in the use of his long-range weapons and combat agility. And during the past, he single-handedly defeated the Hugama Mountain bandit crew, using only a cigarette and his rifle as a club. At the end of the Battle of the Best in Marineford, even Admiral Kizaru chose not to engage with Beckman when he later held him at gunpoint. Even though Kizaru can move at the speed of light, and Kizaru had fought Marco and even crossed swords with Whitebeard himself, he still stood down against Beckman. Beckman also has an amazingly highly developed armament hockey, where he can actually impart his armament hockey into the ammunition of the rifles he uses, and they're powerful enough to penetrate the bodies of enemies and causing immense harm and injury to them. Moving on, let's talk about Lucky Roux, having the role of cook within the crew of the red-haired pirates. Now in the past, it was he who was responsible for stealing the fruit of the sun god that was on that marine ship protected by Who's Who. Now don't let this man's round shape fool you. He is incredibly physically strong, using heavy objects to throw at his enemies. And he's also considered one of the most dangerous pirates by the Marines, because he's able to use any heavy object to his advantage. And he's also able to crush his enemies because he attacks his enemies like a bowling ball. And also, despite the round body and what most people might think, Lucky Roux is able to approach his opponents quickly without being noticed. In fact, the muscles in his legs are incredibly strong and surprisingly flexible, and he can reach incredible speed if he wishes. And just like the rest of Shanks' pirates, he too possesses the ability of armament and observation hockey, and uses a flint gun to shoot his enemies. But he does not appear to be as skilled as certain members of the crew like Ben Beckman or, say, Yasopp. And speaking of him, let's take a moment to talk about Yasopp. He of course is the sniper within the crew of the red-haired pirates, being the best shot in the world, even better in fact than Ben Beckman. Yasopp is an extremely skilled marksman who never misses his target, no matter if he was moving or not. And Yasopp apparently can predict his enemy's next moves with his observation hockey, which has allowed him to never miss a target. Now this also makes him extremely skilled and a powerful marksman, and he constantly boasts of having been able to shoot an ant's antenna from 30 meters away without hitting any other parts of the ant's body. Even Luffy has claimed that he never has seen him miss a shot, and his reputation was such that when Shanks was looking for potential crew members, he went out in search of Yasopp, who had apparently already made quite a big name for himself in the world by just his own achievements. Of course, being a sniper, Yasopp tends to carry a long-range and medium-range weapon with him, and almost all the time. And at first we see him carrying a flintlock pistol, but later we see him carrying a musket. Moving on to our next crewmate, let's talk about Lime Juice. Now, so far we don't know his function on the crew, but he is well known among the world and is also a really outstanding member of the red-haired pirates as well. Now, he tends to use and carry axes and probably other short-ranged weapons. In One Piece Film Red, we do see that he's a close combat fighter and uses an electric weapon that he's seen used in the movie and can also use it in aerial combat. After Lime Juice, we're next going to talk about Bong Punch, one of the musicians of the crew of the red-haired pirates. Now, Punch is a very powerful individual, and he was even a great threat to the Marines even before he joined Shanks' crew. Bong Punch is able to charge and deliver a devastating punch to his enemies, which shows that he possesses not only a great physical strength, and although he is, yes, very strong, he also has a friend that supports him, and that is a little monkey named Monster. Now, Monster, just like Bonk, is one of the other musicians of the red-haired pirates crew, and being Bonk's most loyal companion, they have a deep past together, and they also fight together. You see, while Monster is taking care of the weaker enemies, this allows Bong Punch to charge up and dish out all the huge attacks when needed. The next crew member we're going to talk about is Building Snake, being the navigator of the red-haired crew, and his main combat technique is through swords. Building Snake uses a two-sword fencing style while also pairing it with acrobatic moves and kicks. And although he is quite skilled, it seems that he may not be the kind of swordsman that we would expect to stand up against, say, Shanks, Mihawk, or even Zoro. Now, let's take a moment to talk about Hongo, the doctor of the red-haired pirates crew. And although he's only the doctor, he's also very strong and skilled, and seemed to also, again, like the theme kind of suggests, was a pirate with a great reputation along with the other members prior to joining the crew. As a doctor, Hongo not only has a great knowledge of medical practices, but he also seems very familiar with close quarter combat, and seems to be able to take apart any kind of attack almost instantly. In some of the leaked images where Hongo appears, he seems to be wielding an as yet unidentified bladed weapon, but in the anime it seems to be something kind of different, where where in the past we've seen him wielding a saber. But either way, it seems like he still has a close combat or melee style. Next, we're going to talk about Howling Gab. Now, we don't know his position within the crew, but apparently it seems to have something to do with his physical strength. And although we don't know Howling Gab's fighting style, it seems that he has an ability to generate blades of air from his mouth through some kind of a roaring technique. But so far, we don't have much more information about this character. And finally, let's talk about Rockstar. Now, just like Gab and some of the others, we don't know his position within the crew, but before the time skip, we've seen him being used as a messenger, being the youngest pirate in Shanks' crew. Of the little we've seen, Rockstar seems to use kind of a crushing sword style that allows him to dig a hole just like a drill, but we don't have much more information about his actual fighting style. However, just like the rest of Shanks' crew, he's got to be incredibly strong. But with the whole roster gone down, my friends, we can see that all the members of Shanks' crew are some of the most feared pirates in the world, because not only do they have really advanced skills and abilities, it seems that all of them were known before they joined Shanks' crew. Now, we hope to learn a lot more through the actual showing of One Piece Film Red, and we hope to see and learn a lot more information about them now that Shanks has reappeared in our story. But for now, just gonna have to wait to see what we learn and all of these amazing scenes we expect to see these pirates in. And now, we'd love to know what you think about it. Is there a member of Shanks' crew that you kinda are really curious about? And secondly, why do you think each of these really strong and kinda, self-sufficient pirates joined Shanks' crew? What do you think that says about Shanks? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we bring our video to an end, I want to thank you all so much for watching all the way up to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I really hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.